right, let's go ahead and open up the doors. Hello and welcome everybody to Daily with Doc. My name is Becca Dukes, and as the hostess of this program, I am excited to be able to surround myself with people who are not only like-minded as far as there's other options to obtaining wellness than going to pharmaceuticals, but also the attitude and everything that comes with healthy people. Healthier people are happier people. And folks, we invite you to join us in this journey to obtaining and maintaining wellness and not just sick management. Now, on Daily with Doc, this program is for educational purposes only. The FDA reminds us that we have to remind you that this program is just that, just for educational purposes only, on the importance of nutrition, folks. Our food is null and void of the nutrition that the body actually needs. So if somebody tells you, oh, just eat right, well, what's eat right to them? Because there's been several different philosophies on what eating right is just in my lifetime. But one thing that is held true is the research from the doctor that we host on this program was done before my time, so more than 50 years ago, folks. And his findings then remain true and continue to help people find and refine wellness today. So I'm super excited that I found it and that I am now able to share with you in a much bigger way than just one-on-one talking on how important nutrition is and how you are worth the investment, not only of the time, because you're here investing time in learning, but also in making those changes that it takes to stop the things that are causing issues within the body and replace them with the things that the body needs to have healthier cells each and every moment of the day. So folks, if somebody invited you to this program, make sure that you thank them for inviting you and allowing you to have the opportunity to just be a sponge. Take in what you hear today and think about, okay, who do I know that could also benefit from this program? Because one thing that we are is we are a resource to a very large community of people who are, like I said, like-minded. They know that there are other options when it comes to obtaining and maintaining wellness. They know that when the body is deficient, disease occurs. And when you give the body what it needs, things just seem to melt away. And that's exactly what I had experienced. Now, it's different for everybody. The FDA also requires us to let you know that this program is not meant to take the place of your primary care physician. The products are not meant to diagnose, cure any diseases. But folks, the body is an amazing creation. When it's given what it needs, it thrives instead of just barely survives. And we invite you to feel the difference as well. So without further ado, this program is sponsored by Daily with Doc. dailywithdoc.com is a website that hosts many of our previous recordings for the Daily with Doc. Also, Ask Doc Live, Q&A with Pharmacist Ben, Daily with Doc. Oh, we're Daily with Doc right now. Sorry. Ask Doc Daily, previous show. But there's so much information that is shared on that website that we invite you to use it as a resource as well. And the good foods, bad foods list, which Dr. Wallach is going to be talking about today. And he goes fast, folks. But rest assured, you have places you can go to, one, get the replay, and two, get the good foods, bad foods list. And that is either from the person that refers you to this program, or if there's nobody that referred you, no one to say thank you to, go to dailywithdoc.com. Now, Dr. Wallach has been at this a very long time, folks. He was just a kid going in through the science lab, working his way as a doctor or a doctorate of veterinary medicine. Was it before or after you obtained doctor of veterinary medicine, Doc? Let me get you up here. So whenever you found whenever the farmer brought you the lambs, where overnight 500 died. Was that before or after you decided to become a veterinarian? Or
It was after I decided to become a veterinarian, but that occurred in 1963. I was working my way through veterinary school in the pathology lab. It was Christmas time, 1963. I graduated in 64, and all the professors were off on Christmas holiday, and I was by myself in the lab. And this farmer comes by and he drops 50 dead lambs on me and I said, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" He says, "Well, I had 500 healthy lambs yesterday. They're all happy and healthy. I fed them. We were going to shear them after Christmas, which is a couple of weeks from now. We're going to then take them to market after the New Year's. And so we were feeding them yesterday, no problems. But this morning, when I went to feed them again, they were all dead. All 500 died in one night." And I said, "Oh my gosh, do you have farms around you?" "Yeah." "What animals do they have?" "They don't have any animals. They just have plants. They grow crops. They grow hay and corn and that kind of stuff." I said, "Oh, what kind of fertilizer do they use?" "Well, they all use nitrate fertilizer because it gives them the best yield for the least amount of money." "Okay. Is there any possibility that some of that fertilizer got into their drinking water? How do they get their drinking water? Is it in a tub?" "No, it's in a pond." I said, "Oh, I need a couple of gallons of that pond water." So he gets on the phone. He calls one of his employees. In 2 hours, we had a couple of gallons of that pond water. Tested it. Sure enough, it had the nitrate fertilizers off the roof. And all of those 50 dead lambs died of hypothermia. Okay, they're okay the day before. They all died that night because the temperature dropped to 16. Okay, and they all died of hypothermia. Their thyroids, they all had goiter because they weren't getting the nutrients necessary to make the thyroid happy. And when that temperature dropped, because it had been running 35, 40, 45, 50, 45, 30, so forth, and they could tolerate that. But when it dropped to 16, they all died of hypothermia one night, 500. And I got it published. It was my first scientific publication. And it got published a year after I graduated veterinary school, which is 1964.
so, Dr. Wallach, that's something that we all can learn from
Yes,
because lambs are mammals. They got too much of something that they ingested. It affected their thyroids. We have thyroids, and and they weren't able to maintain their body temperature,
that's correct.
and they perished. So that's just something for all of us to think about. And then I was part of this as well. I could not maintain my body temperature. Phoenix, 115 degrees, and I still had to wear socks to bed because my feet were frozen. And it's because the body can't maintain the body temperature. So, folks, if you're dealing with some type of issue with your thyroid or even that symptom of not being able to maintain your body temperature, whether you're staying too hot and not cooling off when the temperatures are cool, or vice versa, cold when you should be hot, then that's one of those what Dr. Wallach calls a red warning light. Something that's saying, hey, wake up, there's something going on. So, Dr. Wallach, tell us more about what's going on. I know you had an opening, I'm sure, and you and I didn't talk about this intro, but we're ad-libbing it, folks. Dr. Wallach, what would you like to add to that today?
Okay. Well, what I want to talk about is some very, 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 very common things people have that their doctors profess to them that it's a genetic thing in their families and so forth. We're talking about diabetes. We're talking about high blood pressure. We're talking about arthritis, irritable bowel syndrome, all these things, skin issues, and so forth. Fast heart rate, irregular heart rate. And doctors want to tell, oh, these are all genetic things. No, they're all nutritional deficiency things. Okay. And so when my paper got published, Creflo Dollar, okay, and uh, from the St. Louis Zoo.
Oh, that wasn't Creflo, Dr.
Oh,
Wallach. That was Marlon
Marlon
Perkins.
Perkins. Yeah, Marlon Perkins from the St. Louis Zoo. Marlon Perkins, he and Creflo Dollar later on, but Marlon Perkins from the St. Louis Zoo, he took my paper that I wrote, and even before it got published, I gave him a copy of the manuscript of those doing the autopsies on those lambs. And he and Dr. Barry Commoner, a PhD, head of the Department of Biology at Washington University in St. Louis, they got a $21 million grant with my paper. And so they had me be the pathologist on the project. Okay. And the first thing Perkins did was send me to Africa to do a study on why all the white rhino were dying. There was 315 back then in 1956. And today there's 21,000 because of all the conservation efforts we did, building ponds and growing hay for them and all this kind of stuff. And attracted them there. And so we're very, very proud of that. But when it came back, he got this grant, okay, and he had me come back from Africa to be the pathologist on the project. And it was wild because I was getting autopsy cases, frozen tissues and frozen bodies and stuff from all over the world, literally, from zoos and hospitals and stuff from all over the world. And I wound up, I had done over 20,000 autopsies at the end of 10 years. Okay. And it got published as a book called Diseases of Exotic Animals. It's in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure because I showed very clearly there are no genetically transmitted diseases. Okay. So my thesis is in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. I still get breathless when I think about that. Very proud of that. Okay. Now, the next piece comes, of course, people couldn't afford to buy that because it cost $25,000 or $35,000 each. Okay, so we made a summary of it. It's called Epigenetics. We started a whole new science called Epigenetics. That's me on the cover of the book there with a baby monkey from the Yerkes Primate Center, okay, in Georgia. And this is one of those things where I was able to, I got a case. I was only there for 3 months. Okay, when this big project was over, that was my next job, was I got to be a pathologist at the Yerkes primates, all the space monkeys. And I found that first non-human case of cystic fibrosis got confirmed by 5 medical schools. I didn't tell them when I sent them the tissues with slides. I didn't tell them it was from a monkey. I just said, I think this is cystic fibrosis. What do you think? And they all came back on their letterhead from the colleges saying, oh yeah, this is a perfect example. Then I told them it was from a monkey and we could start a laboratory colony and study. Oh, they were all excited. And then when I did biopsies of the other baby monkeys in the colony, no relation to the one that I did the autopsy on, okay, other than they were monkeys, no same father or mother, but they all had cystic fibrosis because the dietitians were tinkering around with the diets because the adults were fighting and pulling each other's hair and everything. And they said, well, they got too much time because they're just eating those pellets. So they took the pellets away from them with all the vitamins and minerals in it and just gave them celery and beets and things like that and ears of corn. And so they'd be busy eating, but they weren't getting any nutrition. And that's why all the babies had cystic fibrosis. And so this is a remarkable piece of history, but it taught me a lot about looking at what's going on, finding out what possibilities there are. And first thing you do is you try the simple things. I give them nutrition. Okay, see if you can reverse some of this. And so that has really saved literally millions of people over the years since then. Okay, since 1976, when we first found this out, 1976. And again, to make a long story short, this is something which we have built systems for. Phil, I want to talk about very common ones. Let's talk about arthritis. Very common. We talk about that all the time. It's very expensive. Okay, we spend each year on arthritis in America just to treat the symptoms, $626.8 billion. On osteoporosis, we spend 2.3 trillion just to treat the symptoms of osteoporosis. Okay, it's a simple nutritional deficiencies. Why are we spending so much money? Oh, it's all the surgeries and all the medications. okay? And those are the doctor's choices, okay? So that's why we came up with longevity, so people have the choices to do a non-surgical approach to these issues and do a dietary thing or do the surgery, whichever one they wanted to do. You know, it's everybody's choice. And then when it came to diabetes, we're getting diabetes in all these animals. I thought diabetes was only a human disease. Well, the reason why you don't see much diabetes in animals is we put those nutrients into the dog food, the cat food, into the pellets we're giving calves and so forth. And so we eliminate the rate of type 2 diabetes in animals because we give them the nutrients to prevent and reverse it. Okay, so I took that formula, began to give it to my patients, and lo and behold, I was able to get rid of it. We used the Healthy Start Pack, which had the 90 essential nutrients in it, 16 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 omega-3 fatty acids. But then I gave them the extra products, which we call sweeties. We added to it. We made the Healthy Blood Sugar Pack with the sweeties and the Healthy Start Pack. And, you know, we can take, I don't care if you've had type 2 diabetes for 25 years, give us 90 days. The odds are we can get rid of it. Same way with high blood pressure. High blood pressure is not a genetic disease, but that's what doctors tell their patients. They put them on medication. And so we change their diet. We get them on the 90 essential nutrients, the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. And then we have a program, okay, which we call the Ultimate Daily Classic Tablets. Take 3 of those twice a day. And this will support healthy blood flow through blocked arteries in the brain and the heart and the kidneys and so forth. We take people who've been on dialysis 6 days a week, they haven't urinated in 10 years. We put them on the program. In 2 weeks, they're urinating. So they drop the dialysis down to 3 days a week. And in 2 more weeks, they're totally off of dialysis because everything's normal after 10 years of not urinating. Okay. So all this is written up in scientific papers, and it's all, of course, in the books like Epigenetics. It's in the book Rare Earths and Cures. And Rare Earths and Cures was a result of a big study that Dr. Milan and I did in China. We did 1,700 autopsies on kids under the age of 10. And we eliminated things, including muscular dystrophy and sudden death syndrome and so forth. So I'm the guy that got rid. You don't hear about cystic fibrosis anymore. You don't hear much about muscular dystrophy anymore. You don't hear much about sudden death syndrome anymore because my attorney, Jonathan Emor, and I, we sued the FDA 8 times in federal court, got them to force the manufacturers of baby formulas to put these nutrients into the baby formulas, and we eliminated those diseases. Now, once these kids get to be 5, 6, 8, 10 years old, they're eating junk food again, okay? And suddenly now they get some of these diseases. Well, we have the programs to give it to these kids, and we'll get rid of these diseases within 90 days. Usually it's in 2 to 6 weeks, but I always tell people, give me 90 days, keeping close contact every week to 10 days, and we can walk you through this. And we have programs for 600 different diseases. There are no genetically transmitted diseases. I'll repeat that. There are no genetically transmitted diseases. When a doctor tells you, well, this is a genetic thing, you have to deal with it, that translates in English to, I have no earthly idea what's causing it, so I'm going to blame it on you. So I don't have to embarrass myself saying I don't know. And so that's why we like the book Hell's Kitchen, because it identifies a time when everything went bad. There you go, Hell's Kitchen. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, it all went bad. What happened there? Thomas Edison pulled the switch and started commercial electricity in New York City. And prior to that, for 3,000 years, we've been using wood ashes and coal ashes as fertilizer in our gardens. And people knew that when you put wood ashes and coal ashes in your gardens, your yield increased. Now, what they did not know was the vegetables were also in absorbing these minerals. So when you ate the foods grown in these gardens fertilized with wood ashes and coal ashes, you're getting the minerals were in those wood ashes and coal ashes. Now, once we went to electricity, that source of nutritional minerals that we had been getting for 3,000 years went away in a heartbeat. And doctors said, oh, these are genetic diseases, because that was a new science in the turn of the century, 1900, okay? And that's one of those caca things, okay? Because there are no genetically transmitted diseases. And the book, Hell's Kitchen, documents the transition from 3,000 years. And in the Old Testament, in the Old Bible, it says, and God says, man's years shall be 120. Why was it 120 then? And now we have all the greatest doctors on earth. Just ask them if they're the greatest doctors on earth. Why is it that our life expectancy is only 75? Hans is 120. That's because they still live in the land flowing with milk and honey. They live in the valleys, in the Himalayan mountains, and all the glaciers are grinding up the rocks up at the top of the mountains. The rock dust comes down in the creeks, and it looks like milk coming down the side of the mountain. Okay, that creek with that rock dust in it looks like milk. So when the Bible talks about the land flowing with milk and honey, it was the lands that had bottomland, that had the creeks and streams getting all this rock dust in it, and people were getting the minerals. That's why they were living so long back then. Okay, and so the land flowing with milk and honey, it wasn't cow's milk, goat's milk, sheep's milk, it was glacial milk. And that book, Rarest Men and Cures, covers 1,700 autopsies in China, and it goes into great detail in chapter 10 of the glacial milk. That's the title of the chapter 10, glacial milk. This entire book is based on those 1,700 autopsies. Okay, and so it's one of those things where the data is unimpeachable. It's published in Chinese and English. The reference to that, so you can chase down the actual, is in this book, Epigenetics. It's in here, Epigenetics under Wallach, and where it has all my books and CDs and things and articles were published back then. And the one that deals with the Chinese study is in there under Wallach in the references. It will blow your mind, okay? When you read the title of that book and look at the co-authors, okay? It'll blow your mind. I mean, you saw that, Rebecca.
I did.
Okay, and so this is unimpeachable evidence. It's unimpeachable evidence. Again, it was published in 2 languages, in Chinese and English, and my presentations in China it's in 3 languages, okay, 2 Chinese languages and English, okay? And so I'm so very, very proud of this. And so this is something more than just taking 3 or 5 or 8 or 10 different vitamins. I ask people all the time, do you take vitamins and minerals? Oh yeah, every day. What do you take? I take vitamin C. Will you take anything else? No. Oh, you're only missing 89. You need
Yes.
90. You can't just take one.
Well, Dr. Wallach, going back to the beginning where we were talking about the lambs and the nitrates, Lee has a very good question. His question is, what about the inorganic nitrates found in plants like arugula and spinach, and whether or not it's okay to increase nitric oxide in the blood?
Okay, well, you have to appreciate the doctors do this if they want to reduce your risk of getting a blood clot. Okay, that's what they use that for. Okay, now you can overdo it and you bleed to death. Okay, because you do need blood clots. Okay, you just don't need pathological ones in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay, your body's pretty smart. And so you can always overdo a good thing. Okay, and when it comes to nutrition, doctors don't get trained in nutrition. And they might belong to some little subgroup of their local organizations and stuff like that, and get a little bit of this, that, and the other. But so many times, the information is based on individuals' personal priorities, okay, as opposed to serious research. Well, I've done over 32,000 autopsies. We have 23 published books, all of which are in the sort of the best-selling league. And of course, Rebecca and I are working on this chart, okay? We're very excited about that. And this chart is at the printers now. So within weeks, we should have it available. We're very excited about this. It should be available. And it goes into about a dozen major diseases that we were able to, just with nutritional products, eliminate. Okay, it gives you the history. And this is going to allow people with a 6th grade education to give a presentation to a small group at a desk in their office or home, or at a big event in a stadium with 3,000 people in it, depending on what equipment you have. Okay. There's many pictures in there. I think there's about maybe 6 or 8 pictures of me with some of the famous people we've dealt with, like Pat Boone and Danny Glover and Andy Young, Theo Ratliff, and on and on and on. Okay. There's so many of these famous people that we have helped with their families and themselves. Pastor Creflo Dollar and Pastor Mike Freeman. Oh, that's a great story. Pastor Mike Freeman. Okay. He was in big trouble. He only had, the doctors called his family, said he only had minutes to live, maybe an hour, maybe a day, but we're talking about minutes here. You better come here and say your goodbyes if you want to, because tomorrow may be too late. And so his wife and Linda Tyler, one of our great distributors from Maryland, calls me and says, is there anything we can do for him? Does he have a G tube? No. Does he have an IV? No. Okay, well, just take our plant minerals, our liquid plant minerals. Don't take the cherry minerals because they're sticky. They got cherry juice in them. Just take the liquid plant minerals, third of a teacup, three times a day on his sternum, his upper belly, lower belly, 3 times a day on his upper back between his shoulder blades, his upper lower back and his lower back. And by the third day, he was seeing benefits. Okay. And he was able to get out and work. It took him some months to get everything perfect, but it's better than death in 5 minutes. Okay. And so we have a great CD, a DVD. It's actually a DVD that he actually did in his TV studio and radio studio in the church. He tells his story, and I kind of add my 2 cents worth, but it's him telling his story. So nobody can say I made it up. Him telling his story. So whatever he is telling you the truth. Whatever he's telling you the truth. Okay. That's Pastor Mike Freeman. Okay. From Baltimore, Maryland. And it's one of those things where that story is also in the book. We do have some female athletes who had really, really serious joint issues in their shoulders and stuff like that. And one of them is Kelly Herron from Tennessee, University of Tennessee. She just showed up at one of my meetings in Tennessee and told me the story. And we put her on the same program. We had Theo Ratliff on. And within weeks, we rebuilt her, and she became one of America's.
She was All-American.
There you go. She was an All-American athlete. Okay. She became an All-American athlete, and she graduated college and played for, I don't know, another 4 years with a professional team. And so we're very, very proud of Kelly Herron, and we tell her story there. And of course, it's a cute picture of she and I. She's well over 6 foot.
Just over 6 foot, and Doc isn't. It's a cute picture, folks. It's cute. Well, Dr. Wallach, we have many, many hands up, and I just, as you're listening to Dr. Wallach and all of the things that you've done, you'll notice that he's giving the body nutrition, and the body responds in a positive way. Now, again, we can't guarantee that we can prevent, diagnose, cure any disease, but the body itself can do some amazing things when given the right raw ingredients. And back to my question with Lee, and also referring to the story about the lambs were getting that nitrate that was contamination into their water. Plants take up those nutrients, even nitrates, through their roots, and they convert them into a form that then the body is more able to utilize, right, Dr. Wallach? But still, too much of a good thing is not always a good thing.
You know, nitrates are part of proteins, okay? And so it's one of those things where nitrogen is an essential nutrient, okay? But it's one of those things where combined with other stuff and exposed to heat and other chemicals and things, nitrates turn into poisons. Same thing with all kinds of stuff, including calcium. Okay, you have to be careful of your sources of calcium. You have to be careful of your sources of iodine and so on. And so this is something that, of course, we take great care when we have our oil. Well, what about your oils, Wallach? Well, we do have the let's see here. We have the
essential fatty acids.
We have the EFAs, EFA pluses, right? they are required by the cell membranes of every cell to get things to be able to come in the cell and go out of the cell. And also they prevent blood clots and so on. They're required by nutritional chemical reactions going on in cells and in the body and in organs and so forth. And so we have the EFAs and EFA pluses. And, you can overdo water. You can drink too much water and kill yourself. And so it's one of those things where that just happened a couple of days ago. That was in the newspaper. A lady drank too much water and she was an athlete. She drank too much water and she died. Okay. And so it's one of those things where you have to pay attention to those details. And when you go back and you look before electricity, when people were getting the wood ashes, okay, it was a totally different world. And that's when we had people living to be like Adam, 930, Noah, 950, Methuselah, 969. There were many, many more who lived to be 800, 700, 600, 500, 300, because they're getting all these nutrients and they didn't have all the bad stuff that we have now because they didn't have manufacturing that made things that had the bad stuff in them. Okay, they're living out in the boonies 3,000 years ago.
They're using more whole foods, Dr. Wallach, and not something that's stripped and then you put stuff back in. So I think that's the way we should be doing it now as well, folks, going more whole food. And that's one thing that I appreciate about the company that Dr. Wallach founded and the products is they do use whole foods in their formulas as well. Well, Dr. Wallach, like I said, we have many, many hands up. So let's go to the first hand that is up. And Marilyn, go ahead and unmute yourself. Do you have a quick question for Dr. Wallach?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
How do you do?
Hello, everyone. I have a female. She's 67 years old, 5'7", weighs 172. She has a weakened shoulder. For the past year, it started to catch. She also has had a bunion for a long time, and it's getting worse where it's putting extreme pressure on her other toes. And she says, is this due to osteoporosis of the skull? And what can I do?
Okay. There could be some osteoporosis of the skull, especially at age 67 and having problems. Because when you have a joint problem in your toe, you don't just have a joint problem in your toe. That same joint problem in your toe is happening in your knees, in your hips, in your vertebrae, in your skull, and jawbone, and so forth. So at 172 pounds, we want her to get rid of all the bad foods. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no brown around oats, no buckwheat, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet drinks got to go, and also the carbonated water, because they neutralize stomach acid, so you cannot absorb minerals and digest foods. So that's there. Now, at 172 pounds, ideally, we want her to have 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month. If that's too big a chore for her, she can have 2 of the healthy start packs per month. Okay. And then we also want her to have 2 bottles of MSM per month, take 3 times a day. If that's too much for her, she can take, let's see here, 1 bottle a month of the MSM. She can take 3 twice a day instead of 3 times a day. That's going to rebuild cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between vertebrae, bone makes bone itself, including the shoulder and the toes. Okay. And then we need her to take the collagen peptides. She can go ahead and take a scoop of them in her morning drink, a scoop of them in her evening drink. That's also going to rebuild cartilage and ligaments and tendons and skin. Skin, the makeup of skin is 2/3 of the skin thickness is made up of the same stuff your tendons and ligaments and cartilage is made out of. Okay, so you'll be helping there, okay, with the bunion stuff, which is, the cartilage and ligaments in the toes and so forth. And
so can that deformity be reversed then?
Of course, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can put CM cream on the outside, put it all over the bunion 2 or 3 times a day, like about every 3 hours. Go ahead and put the CM cream on the bunion, and that'll relieve a little bit of the swelling immediately, and also relieve a lot of the itching and pain and awareness and so forth. You'll forget it's there when you put the CM cream on, and multiple times. It's not once a day. It'll be like once every 2 to 3 hours. Okay.
So is the shoulder catching due to excess like scar tissue and build up a connective tissue there?
Well, it could be that. It could be just a loss of cartilage.
Oh, loss of cartilage.
Yeah, I lost the cartilage. Cartilage is not permanent like poured concrete. Cartilage comes and goes depending on your nutritional intake, good and bad. Okay. And so this is something your body has to have coming in all the good stuff every day and avoiding the bad stuff every day. You just can't say, well, I do the good stuff every Christmas. Well, that's not good enough. Okay. It's got to be every day. You got to do the good stuff. Also, you got to avoid the bad stuff every day. Then you're going to get the maximum benefit. Okay. Cartilage can repair itself and replace itself. Bone can repair itself and replace itself. Ligaments and tendons can replace and repair themselves, but they need the raw material and they need to be safe from all the outside exposure of bad stuff. Okay, so that's why we say get rid of all these bad things. And people say, well, I've been eating it all my life. Well, that's why you're in trouble. Okay.
One last thing, if there's excess inflammation, what's the best thing to reduce that inflammation? Is it the MSM, Ultimate Daily Classic?
MSM.
MSM. So like double extra on the MSM if you're having inflammation problem.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Ultimate Classic is for detoxification.
Oh, okay.
And I want to add to that, it's not just any MSM, folks. The MSM Ultra that Dr. Wallach is referring to is not just a single nutrient, but it's the nutrients that actually activate that MSM and help it do what it was designed to do within the body. So not all nutrients, not all products are designed the same. And that's one thing that I appreciate about what Dr. Wallach has done with the line of products that is offered. So
yeah, thank you. We put the secret sauce in, plus we put all the support nutrients so the secret sauce works.
Yes, it's those support nutrients that are very, very important. Let's go to the next hand that is up. And Deborah, go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Hi there.
Hi. How can we help you?
I have a female that is 88 years old, 5 foot tall, and 75 pounds. She had a fall 3 months, or she had a urine infection and tract infection 3 months ago, and then she fell. She's lost like 7 pounds in the last 2 months and an inch in her waist. And apparently she's had some hemoglobin work done or whatever, the blood, and it was gone from 10 to 10.6. So concerned daughter about her. So.
Okay. Well, you need to get rid of all the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, butter, rye, oats, no buckwheat, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet drinks and carbonated water got to go. It's 75 pounds. And after having a fall at 88 years old, it's a miracle she's still alive. So we want her to take 1 healthy brain and heart pack per month, half a dose of everything at breakfast, half a dose at dinner time. We want her to have 1 bottle a month of the MSM. So you can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at dinner, or 2, 2, and 2, 2 with each meal, a total of 6 a day of the MSM. Okay, they're going to help rebuild cartilage, ligaments, connective tissue, disc between vertebrae, bone mix, bone itself, which is very important for everybody, but certainly somebody who's 88 years old and had a fracture. Okay, we also wanted to have vitamin D3. There's some vitamin D3 in the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, and okay, but we also want to give her a little bit of extra so she can get a bottle of vitamin D3 and R so it matches, and so she can take. I'd have her take 1 of those twice a day, 1 at breakfast, 1 at dinner time. Okay, I do that, and I weigh 142. I'm 84 years old. Okay. Let's see here. Then I think for a rebound for energy. Okay, she can take a rebound. I want her to use the sticks. Okay, or the canister with the powder. There's 30 sticks in a box, and there's 36 servings in the canister. The carbonation is a little tricky in the carbonated cans. If she's willing to pop the tops on them the night before she drinks them, put them open in the refrigerator at night, they'll be flat in the morning. All the carbonation will be bubbled off. And then they're safe to drink. Okay. Okay. So that's the way I would work that.
All right. she's taking some products now, and so they've been with Longevity probably for a year or so or longer. I'm not sure what she's been giving, but she's been taking the Ultimate Classic, some circulatory formula, and plant-derived minerals, and the hair and nail stuff.
Hair, skin, and nails, Okay, but she still
Deborah,
she still needs to take some of the stuff that I mentioned that she's not taking with her program.
All right. So the fact that she's on nutrients, Dr. Wallach, from Longevity may be why she is still here after that fall.
That's correct.
So,
that may have saved her life.
All right. Thank you so much, Deborah. Let's go over to Lynn and Linda. Go ahead and unmute yourself. You're on live with Dr. Wallach.
Hi, Dr. Wallach. I spoke with you a few years ago when Linda was your assistant. So that's been a few years, and we've had COVID in between. And you did give me a plan.
Are you from Baltimore, Maryland?
No, I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah.
Oh, okay.
And so I had this plan, and I've talked on off and on with my husband and my medical doctor, and they are very against me trying this, but I really do want to try. I have
what's your problem?
I have limb girdle muscular dystrophy. I'm 81 years old, 150 pounds, and about 5 feet 4.5.
Okay, so you have muscular dystrophy. When were you diagnosed with muscular dystrophy?
In 2000.
Okay, so you're an adult.
Pardon?
You were an adult.
Yes, I was an adult.
Okay, now did they tell you it was a genetic disease or nutritional deficiency disease?
They didn't tell me. I've done a number of tests, genetic tests, to find out where this has come from, but they haven't been able to classify.
Yeah, okay, well, let's stop there. Well, muscular dystrophy is very simple nutritional deficiencies. Okay, we learned about that first in animals going back 100 years ago, because muscle is meat. And
right.
if you have the good meat being replaced with scar tissue, that causes a problem, right, for the farmers. So in the farming industry, we figured out what caused muscular dystrophy, muscle problems, and we eliminated it with nutrition, which we fed to the animals. We eliminated muscular dystrophy over 100 years ago in animals. Well, I came along. I took the muscular dystrophy information from the animal industry and gave it to people, kids with muscular dystrophy, and got rid of it in people just like we did in animals. Okay, so that's where I got the idea, because we already solved the problem in animals. I just took the animal solutions and I wasn't going to give them alfalfa pellets, all the vitamins and minerals in it, but we did come up with supplements that had the nutrients in it to rebuild the muscles. Okay, so 81 years old, you need to get rid of all the bad foods: no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no butter, rye, and oats, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet ones got to go, and carbonated water got to go. And at 150 pounds, I want you to have 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month, a full dose thing twice a day, 2 bottles of MSM a month. So you can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, or dinner. They're going to support and promote maintenance repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae, bone, rakes, bone itself. Also, let's see here. We want to use the Rebound as an energy drink instead of the colas and Diet Pepsis and that kind of stuff. Okay, when the Rebound, it has 100 nutrients in it. I drink the Rebound. Okay, it's 75 minerals and 25 vitamins, amino acids. Very, very great nutritional energy program compared to Red Bull. Red Bull only has 1 mineral, magnesium. We have 75 minerals. Okay. Red Bull has double or triple the amount of sugar and caffeine that we have in our Rebound. Okay. Our energy comes from giving your cells and your tissues and your systems what they need to perform at their optimum. Okay. And so that's why I want you to use our Rebound for some energy and some kind of a fun way to get liquids during the day as opposed to just drinking water. Okay, so give us a call every couple of weeks, because you're going to have a great story. Muscular dystrophy heals very quickly. Your muscles tendons and ligaments and cartilage repair themselves very quickly. The skin gets better because the same nutrients required for your muscles are required for the skin. And so, and hair color begins to come back. It's one of those programs that you get much, much more than you're paying for. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Linda.
Is there anybody that I could talk to that has been helped with your program? Anybody that has had muscular dystrophy who your plan has helped?
I think probably a good one to talk to would be Marvin Ropp, who's a Navy SEAL who worked with me with Jerry Lewis and muscular dystrophy. Okay, with Jerry's kids. Marvin Ropp, he's one of our great Navy SEALs, and he was with me for 2 years working with Jerry Lewis. We did all this stuff with families in Indiana, Idaho, Utah, and Michigan, also in Oregon and Washington State, Northern California. And that's where we found out the cause, prevention, and cure of muscular dystrophy. And so Marvin Ropp's been in that up to his eyeballs. So what we can do here is we'll give Marvin, make sure you give Rebecca your phone number, and she'll give Marvin your phone number.
All
Okay.
right, Dr. Wallach, she's working with Linda. Linda has Marvin's phone
Okay,
number.
sure. Now, which Linda are we talking about? Linda
Tyler.
Oh, Linda Tyler. Oh, okay.
Linda,
Yeah.
a long time ago. Yeah, it's been a while since.
Okay, well, Linda Tyler says she's a great angel. Okay, so yeah.
And also Sherry has my phone number and my email address. I've spoken with her.
Okay, well, they're busy up to their eyeballs, so they're not going to run around trying to catch you.
No, I
You have
know.
to contact them.
How do you spell his last name?
ROPP.
Yeah.
Dr. Wallach, let's try to get one more person. I don't
Okay.
mean to cut you off, Linda.
I know, yeah. I've got to go here pretty soon.
All right. Well, Dr. Wallach, let's go over to Sherry, who has her hand up. Sherry.
Thank you so much. This is from one of our listeners as well. She's a 49-year-old female who's been suffering with a non-stop headache since she was a teenager. Her grandmother had the same problem, and currently she's on prescription medication just so she can function. On cloudy days, her head hurts even worse than on sunny days. She's tried Botox, physical therapy, chiropractor with little or no relief. Taking a nap does not help either. Often she'll feel worse after a nap.
Okay, let's stop there. Has she had an MRI? Anything like that?
Not since she was young. She did when she was young. She said her insurance won't pay for it now and she can't afford it.
Okay, the odds are she has osteoporosis of the skull. Okay, and the skull is squeezing the spinal cord. We need to know how many times she wakes up at night to urinate. Once, 3 times, 5 times. Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't say.
Okay, well, we need to find out. See, answering a question is cheap compared to an MRI, which is expensive.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
this was written into us.
We need to get information on how many times she wakes up at night to urinate. Does she have rain in her ears? Does she have a balance problem? Does she have receding gums? Has she had to have her teeth taken out because they're all loose? Say ringing in the ears, tinnitus. Has she lost her sense of taste, her sense of smell? Has she ever had atrial fibrillation? Does she have fast heart rate, tachycardia? Does she ever have?
Dr. Wallach, excuse me for interrupting you. If she does have osteoporosis of the skull, what are your recommendations for that?
Okay, and let's see here. She weighs how much?
Let's go
We
to
don't
100.
know.
Let's just go for 150 pounds, please.
Okay, 150 pounds. Okay, I want her to have 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month, full dose thing twice a day, 2 bottles a month of the MSM. She can take 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time, a scoop of the collagen peptides at breakfast drink, and scoop of their evening drink, collagen peptides. Then I also want her to have let's see here. She needs the Synaptive. She needs 2 or 3 of those twice a day. She needs the I-26. I-26, she needs 3 servings of that a day. They come in soft chewables. They come in capsules and they come in powder. I like the chewables myself. Either one works. I don't want to have 3 doses of the I-26 a day. Okay. And let's see here. We also want to use our Rebound sports drink instead of colas and just water and juice and that kind of stuff. We're going to use our Rebound with 75 minerals in it and 25 vitamins and amino acids. And so let's go there and, contact us every couple of weeks because results occur very quickly here if we're on target. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Dr. Wallach, so much for being here with us. I know that you have to get going on to your next program. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And folks, if I could get my...
Thank you, Becca.
You're welcome, Dr. Wallach. If I could get my co-hosts on the screen with me, that would be absolutely fabulous. There was a lot of information that was shared today, and I know we did not get to all of the hands. Folks, if you've got a question that you would like to ask of Dr. Wallach, please go to our website, dailywithdoc.com. There you will find the place where you can, 1, subscribe to our newsletter, but 2, at the same time, submit a question. And what I do is I go through those questions. Many of them are simple. I can just shoot off a quick little email response back with Dr. Wallach's recommendations. We bring them to the program and ask them, which some of my co-hosts have done today. Or if it's depending on the situation, Dr. Wallach and I call the individual and go through individual programs. So folks, again, our products do not diagnose, treat, or cure any disease, but all of these symptoms, there's over 600 symptoms related to mineral deficiencies. So think about it. You correct the deficiency, what's the response going to be? Because the body's continually making cells. So that's what we love, the fact that we can take and give the body the raw ingredients that it needs, and we get more positive tomorrows. So I am excited to be able to have and share with each of you my team of co-hosts, because I couldn't do this, especially now, without each one of them, with the amount of traction that we're getting out on the different platforms. Thanks to AJ, who has helped us set all of that up, Ruth Ellen, who has helped me in the beginning with the program and being a co-host and letting people in and watching all of the platforms, also making sure that the stream continues to stream. So thank you, Ruth Ellen and AJ, for that. I want to thank Marilyn and Phyllis for all that they do in the chat and putting what Dr. Wallach recommends and also sharing experiences and addressing questions in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sherry did that as well today. Thank you, Sherry. We have Coach Rod and AJ both out on the different platforms. I know I saw Phyllis was out there too, answering and fielding questions. And Albert, he is just letting people in and bringing just that positive little light to our world from his world. I guess it's the same world. It's just totally different hemispheres down in South Africa. So we are worldwide, folks. We're not just limited to the United States or just to North America. We are around the world. And I love the fact that we're able to share this because we all need the same essential nutrients. And that's what Dr. Wallach has discovered, what he has implemented, had positive results from, and decided he wanted to go bigger and better with a crusade. And that crusade is what we are on today. We invite you to join our crusade. Get back with the person that shared this program with you. If there is nobody to thank, you can get more information about it going to Coach with Doc. That's coachwithdoc.com. So until next time, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And did I forget something, Ruth Ellen? I don't think so. Awesome. Well, everybody, have a fabulous, fabulous day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.